Christians who join.
Good evening, viewers, great viewers around the world. You are welcome to yet another program, Between the Lines. Between the Lines is SSM News Echoes, Monday starters news updates. And Between the Lines is done with my coordinators and colleagues from different parts of the world. In faraway Lagos, Nigeria is Olayinka Raji. Olayinka Raji, you're welcome to Between the Lines.
Thank you, Master Mark. Good evening, viewers.
Yes.
Welcome to Between the Lines.
Between the Lines. Between the Lines is our informative program. We give updates on events, politics, business, and we can't do that without George Chukwu from faraway Toronto, Canada. George, you're welcome to Between the Lines.
Well, thank you so much, Mike Godwin. And my colleague Raji, our coordinator from Lagos, Nigeria. We want to welcome viewers from around the world. Stay tuned with us. It's going to be a fantastic show this evening.
It's going to be a fantastic show. And we need the female gender too. They have updates from their corner. So we have with us from Istanbul, Turkey, Yema Benson. Yema Benson, welcome to Between the Lines.
Miss B.
Yeah, we need to.
I think
you need to
unmute.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you, and welcome viewers to Between the Lines.
Between the Lines. Thank you, gentlemen. While the other colleagues join, let's go run to the news. All the update, like we said. A lot is happening, Raji. Raji, it's good you're there. Let's start with the Nigerian updates. We heard of the 137 abducted Kaduna school children has been rescued. 137. Actually, the initial number when that incident happened was 287 to 287, but now it's 137. And we had the news that yesterday that they were rescued. After they were abducted on Thursday morning in Karuga, Chikin local government area of Kaduna State, and these are little children. Anyway, information we got directly from Nigeria is that first of all, some amount of money was paid, and the Nigerian Security Agency headman Nuhu Rabidu and the Nigerian Army were able to make the rescue. Now, Raji, can you give us update? But before you do, Between the Lines also have our UK correspondent, Fiona Akuno. Fiona, you're welcome to Between the Lines.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Lady Fiona. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good evening.
Excellent.
Okay, Raji, let's hear you. You're there. What happened? They've been rescued, but what's the background story?
Well, we first of all, I congratulate the children that they are back home. Mm-hmm. The numbers are conflicting. I don't know whether it is 238 or 137, but there at least some group have come home. We thank God for that. Whatever might have happened, whatever might have changed hands, we are still we can only go with what the government is saying, that there was no ransom paid.
Okay.
But then it's actually almost always very dangerous to believe what the government says, because whatever the government says, after a few days, some other details will come out. Yes, but I'm happy that some of the children are back home. From a
we're all happy that some of the children are back home, but it's not a very pleasant situation. George, we're hearing news that Gumi was not involved in the ransom in the rescue. Gumi was not involved, like the federal government is saying. It's directly the governor of the state. Sorry, somebody's background is a little bit noisy there. Okay, so Gumi was not in the rescue plan. He was not in the team, and we don't know how true is that is. But before then, let's bring in Godwin eBay, Moscow, Russia correspondent. You're welcome to Between the Lines, Godwin.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Legends.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you for coming. Yes, George. So Gumi is not in the plan, like you said, and there's so much money we had in the initial stage. So much money for the rescue. George, go ahead. What are you monitoring from your corner?
This world, the world is becoming funnier and funnier in my own view. And I hope you will allow me to laugh a little bit. Because the whole entire thing is our president came out and said no ransom should be paid. But all of a sudden, 100 and how many of them again?
137.
No, it was actually supposed to be 138, but one of the teachers died. One of the teachers died. And now they are trying to claim that no ransom was paid, but they rescued them. But I don't see what is the news all about if they are rescuing them. No story is being told about. Did they kill any of those terrorists? Did they capture any one of them? And in case they did, where are they? So these things are just so funny. I don't know who is deceiving who, in this whole entire thing. That's really the question, the question we need to ask. We are very, very happy that the children are safe. But this is so funny that every single time anything happens in the north, we're not talking about, we decimated them, or we destroyed them, or we captured them, and we captured them. Where are they? So what kind of rescue mission is that? Or maybe the rescue mission is money was paid under the table, and then they don't want to agree that money was paid under the table for them to release the children, and then they go on by their own business. And one of the major problems we are having with is these negotiators. These negotiators, anytime you plan any attack against them, they will give news to these people and they will disappear. So I think there is something funny going on in this whole equation, and somebody here maybe might be able to tell me, because to me it is so funny and laughable, and I'm still laughing up until now, but I will not laugh publicly. Thank you.
We're all still laughing. This is George. We're laughing. Sad story there. There is some clip on that, so we can all see these little kids have been traumatized. Fiona, traumatized. These kids have gone through a lot, looking very, very rackety, coming out of that stage, that cliff, where we don't know what might have happened to some of them. I mean, these men are sick. Deranged men will pick up these little kids and hold them captive and take huge sum of money from us. Fiona, let's talk about the trauma case now. We're trying to bring an image of some of those kids. Fiona, can you give us your clip from what you're hearing from your corner?
I mean, I think that it's no longer news that abduction, cutting children away, picking up kids from schools, that's no longer news in Nigeria. That's become the order of the day. I read an article earlier on that said something like, since Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime started in May, over 4,700 people have been abducted, etc., etc. This was an SBM poll. So that has become the new quote unquote normal in Nigeria. It's very unfortunate. The flip side of it is that these children, of course, have been traumatized, and I don't know that Nigeria is best placed to have therapies, etc., for these children to access so that they can actually deal with this traumatic event. And that's one of the things that I think runs through the core of many things that happen in Nigeria, that there isn't really anything after. It's just, oh, they've been rescued and that's kind of the end. We don't really have any way of, or any kind of pastoral care that happens after the event. In terms of talking about the numbers of who was kidnapped, who wasn't kidnapped, how many are back, how many are not back, I've realized that whether it's conspired by the institution or what. But I realized that to get actual hard facts out of Nigeria in terms of numbers of anything, it's almost nigh on impossible, because if you read several different outlets or listen to several, all the reports the numbers are just completely different, and they're varied to such an extent that you don't even know what you're dealing with. So I'm not even convinced about the true number of kids that were taken and the true number of kids that were brought back. I've got no idea, and I wouldn't even like to speak to that. So for me, in terms of did they get a ransom, did they not? It seems very interesting that all of a sudden we found this miraculous way of being able to rescue people, something that we've never been able to do. So for me, I'm not sure that I necessarily believe that nothing was paid. But as I'm not in the center of it, I don't know. But it beggars belief that it just kind of happened and they stormed the place. These are people that don't use proper intelligence. These are people, and somehow miraculously on this occasion they were able to produce it from somewhere. I don't know. I'm just what do I know? But I'm just saying that's how I feel about it. So, but
Fiona,
yes.
This is only possible in Hollywood, but it's happening now in Nollywood. It's okay.
Unfortunately,
okay. Yes. Yema, you probably follow situation reports also, being a student of international relationship. Now, these kids have been traumatized. This is happening, and take note of the amount of money that was paid to rescue these children. Now, some people might jack on that amount of money and say, wow, this is the new oil in Nigeria. I mean, if you can get so amount of money within a space of time, I mean, what will they do? So is it a good thing that federal government is negotiating and paying ransom, even though they deny it? We know they are paying. Yama, what do you say about this?
We suspect.
I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't call that a rescue mission. I would say it's a transaction, because the whole federal government is and you're calling that rescue, a federal government of Nigeria. Just imagine an American citizen being kidnapped and the American is paying money to, it's laughable, really. There is nothing like there was no rescue, it was a transaction done. And this kids is more like a business. Sometimes I feel the kids in the north are more like the kids that are not valued, and they can fall into any kind of business by the elite there. So I think this is one of them. This is one of the transactions going on there. So there is nothing like a rescue mission, and these kids are really, really traumatized. And I am not very hopeful that this will not happen again. I'm not hopeful that it will not happen. I'm not hopeful.
It will not happen again. Godwin, do you hope this? Do you? I mean, nobody prays for this. Godwin, we will come to the Russian situation later. But how are you copying this whole thing? In Kaduna, federal government of Nigeria, yes, they've rescued these children, but the whole scenario is not playing too well. Terrorists can grab anybody at any point in time, go to schools where they don't want them to learn the Western education, and kidnap them. Godwin, how are you copying from your end?
It's from the perspective of the children, it's good that they can see the daylight once again. From their perspective, from the perspective of broad national security, we have done nothing to affect the capability of the terrorists. That's the problem.
That's it.
Both in terms of their capability, their network, and their ability to repeat this. So it's a mixed feeling. We suspect that something changed hands, and there's nothing wrong in negotiating with terrorists. I don't think there's anything wrong in negotiating with terrorists, because in today's world, terrorists can hide among civilians, as you see in places like Gaza. In modern warfare, military infrastructure can be placed in high-rise buildings where civilians live. So it's always good to consider all, do not take anything off the table, take a look at all the options and understand whether negotiation is the best way forward to minimize casualties. But irrespective of whatever you take, you also have to think about the long-term approach. It's not the negotiation that will affect the long-term approach, but rather it's the ability to affect their capability and to gain relevant knowledge, insight, intelligence that will help you to foresee, and understand their modus operandi and reduce their logistics. I think that's the way to go forward. I hope that the government will give us more information so that we can be able to evaluate, because this thing is about, it's about sharing information. When the government shares information, the public can scrutinize it, fish out the what we call the BS, and help to throw more light on the areas that are gray or shadowy. So I think it's a positive thing. The government should see it as positive, sharing this information, that we as a public can look into, scrutinize it, and see the best way forward.
We as the public can scrutinize and see the best way forward. Gentlemen, it didn't end there. Also, in that discussion, let's move on, please, so that we can cover what we have, please. It's okay.
Okay.
In that discussion, let's come to a stampede that is also happening in most part of northern Nigeria. It's been reported that people are even losing their lives because they are giving the Zakat arms giving while we're in the Ramadan season. This today we had the one in Bauchi State. The numbers are increasing, but the official number is 4. But we know it's more than 4. In Nasarawa also, it's been said that it's getting to 7. We know it's more than 7, and so many people being treated for injuries. Now, what is happening is this: for viewers listening, it's Ramadan season. People want to come out to eat, and some people are offering free food, palliatives. Now, in the process of getting this food, the rushing, there's a bomb rush, and that bomb rush leads to stampede, and people trample on themselves, kill themselves. So, gentlemen, Raji, you are in the Ramadan season. How best can government do with the palliative instead of having people jammed up and killing themselves because they are coming to take some food that probably is not even as nourishing as it should be?
It's rather sad, rather unfortunate, and just an indication of the level of poverty that is happening in this country.
Okay.
That for whatever reason, the moment there's some sort of palliative being shared, it causes a stampede. The last time I'm sorry about the background noise. I hope it's not too much.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
The last time the customs tried to sell some rice cheaper, at least 2 people died. It also shows the lack of organization in when we are doing things. How can't we just organize ourselves into a straight line and for everybody to be able to get? But when there's a mentality of lack, there's always a rush so that you get yours before the items finish, and it always ends up in that kind of stampede. Very, very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Very
Fiona,
yes.
I know you remember the regime of Buhari and the Diagbon, and we had that discipline where Nigerians were very civil. You queue up in anything that needs to be queued up for, you stay on the line, and that was really orderly. But we don't have that again. People are jamming up in everything, to get a pack of food, bomb rush and kill themselves. I mean, what do we do? Do you think the army has to come in on this, Fiona?
First of all, my condolences go out to, and all our collective condolences go out to all the families who have lost loved ones in these incidents. To start with, they called it palliative, but actually this is part of the Islamic religion, where people that have will give to the less privileged. So that wasn't really a government process. That's by a local businessman who is doing what his religion, you know, asks him to do. So it's an unfortunate incident. I know for a fact, because I've been involved in, you know, many things like this, that if you don't have order at the core of anything that you're doing amongst us, regardless of whether there's lack or there's no lack, we are very badly behaved. We just behave badly. Once the opportunity is there for bad behavior, we just key into it. I'm not saying that there's no hunger. I'm not saying that people are not hungry. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that this is our default setting. Our default setting is not to want to queue up orderly. We do it everywhere. It's not just there. It happens, you know, across the board, where anytime we're involved in having to wait for anything. You know, I even as a child, well, as a young person, I remember Third Mainland Bridge, people going on the opposite side of the road, driving, facing oncoming traffic on Third Mainland because there was traffic. So we're used to being, you know, a bit, you know, so we're not orderly. Obviously, if somebody from the kindness of their heart is doing a palliative, I would expect that he has made arrangements for the food or whatever to be given out. And I would also expect that he's expecting that people, obviously it's nothing I would expect the businessman to. So I really feel for him, because I know that this was not his intent and it wasn't something he thought about in a kind of a large capacity like that. Maybe the current situation in the country made, you know, the demand for the food more or something, maybe because he's done it before. This is not his first time of doing it. He does it all the time during Ramadan. So obviously this is, you know, this has happened probably because of the you know, the distinct lack in the country. In terms of the government's palliatives, I mean, it's absolutely borderline ridiculous. The other day we saw in Lagos where they were giving, I don't know whether it was yam bread or some ridiculous carbohydrates, anyway, I don't know. And they were flogging people, and it was absolute carnage. It was no order. It was anarchy. It was crazy. And that's the way we do our things. So it's really, the government knows its people, which is why, as you referred to the Idiabon case, which is why that time everybody was a conformist, because you knew that if you didn't conform, someone's just going to flog you by the side of a corridor road. It wasn't up for discussion. That was what was going to happen. So I think that the government knows its people, and the government is aware of the lack. There has to be a proper structure in place to do that. We discussed this when it was announced, Matt.
Yes.
If there's no proper structure, this thing is going to be an absolute show. So am I surprised that things have worked out like this? Well, not completely, because it was expected. So yeah.
Not completely, it was expected. Thank you. Sir George, it's good to have you there when we're discussing issues like this. You bring your very good view from your corner. Sir George, we have a problem, and that's the federal government. Most times the Nigerian media reports something else, and it's something, it's not what it said. The news about this stampede, BBC, some of the international media homes are reporting very huge number of deaths, but what we have in Nigerian media is 2-4, and that's not true. Sir George, how do we get Nigerian media to give accurate news, say things as it is, instead of hiding? I mean, why do we hide? Why do we want to hide numbers when?
We want to look good. We don't want the world to see our dirty laundry. You know, that's exactly what it is. You know, if you think about it, the whole entire thing is very sad. And I'm just wondering. You know, I know that there is scarcity in Nigeria. Is it because of the news of scarcity that is causing people to, you know, go crazy and then lose their minds and lose their lives? Because wasn't there times when food used to be shared, and then people will go in, pick up their own and go home? What is going on? Exactly. And why is it that all this stampede is, you know, happening from one area of the country? Is it that is that bad over there, or worse over there than it is in the east, in the west? I'm just wondering. I just don't know. The point about it is this: you know what happened during the NSARS? You know how things were just hijacked. Information. You know, there was so much lying from the government because they didn't want the world to think that it was worse than what they were projecting. But yet, in the end, all the truth came out. thousands or hundreds of people, you know, they went behind and was paying, the Lagos government was paying these parents and stuff like that. And some of them, I don't even know if they have been buried up until today, you know. So I don't know. I don't know what would be the answer for them to be transparent. And that's the only way we can actually be able to prevent such things, because if we see how bad it is, everybody will cry out, and then we can actually bring a solution, you know. But to do the same thing and think the same way and say the same thing and expect a different result, I know they call it insanity, and that's what's happening in our country. It's very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate indeed. Ms. Benson, you're there in your corner and you're seeing all of these things. Now, how do we best? I asked Fiona earlier, but I didn't get the answer. What do you think would be a best way of giving people palliative instead of having this jammed bomb rush, stampede, killing themselves? Because it's serious, really. We hear of Bauchi now, we hear of Nasarawa. Soon it might be moving because food will be coming out. So, Ms. Benson, from your own academia point of view, what could be a solution of distributing food instead of having people kill themselves in the process?
Okay, I hope my internet is good, because I think it's having some issues. Okay, yeah. For me, I think that if, for example, each state, okay, if something like that, if it's a government palliative, whatever it is, if each state should have their own, like, this is for this state, this is for this state, this is for this community, this is for this community. That way it's going to be lesser. They're going to have lesser people going to that community. I remember, Mr. I don't know, said about the NSAS, and also the people were really determined to make this work. They understood that they have to. I know the NSAS. I watched every bit of it. How people were so coordinated. They really wanted it to work. I think also, if the people want to be coordinated, they can easily do it.
Yes.
And it should be shared to each state, each community. This is for this community. Share this, share that. With that way, it's going to be like, it can be managed that way. There'll be no stampede, I think. Yeah,
can be managed, because what we do here is as much as we say what we say, let's also give solution to help the government, because we don't know who's listening and who needs to find.
If I can just interject,
yes.
I think what Ms. Benson said is really quite on the money, because we had a distribution of palliatives where I come from, in my actual hometown, so my village, and that's what happened. So it came from a particular body. It was split in the state, in the local government, and then from the local government it went to the PGs, and then so that kind of big crowd, the kind of crowd that if you just say, oh, everybody in the state come to location A, you know. So I think, you know, granulating it to the point where, you know, the numbers are manageable is one way of doing it. But I think in the midst of lack, to get orderliness, you need a proper structure. There needs to be either the police, the military. There needs to be some kind of order. It can't just be a free-for-all. It won't work. Even here in the United Kingdom, if it's a free-for-all, it doesn't work. It's not even about that. If it's a free-for-all, it doesn't even work here in the United, where people are orderly and like to queue. It doesn't work. So, you know, so there needs to be a structure.
Can I add to that?
Actually, there's order.
Raji.
Okay.
Actually, there's order.
There's order.
Actually, there's order.
But why are they
there's order, but the people are there are too many people. There are too many people. Everything is done, even according to local government or local council areas. It's not
means they're not
from a
prepared for
central
the numbers,
position.
so
It goes to local government.
That's exactly right.
Even to
if you're prepared for the numbers, then if you know that you have 20 million people in your local government, you should prepare for 20 million. Then not you should prepare for 5 million and say there are too many people.
It is impossible to prepare for all.
Okay.
There's a lack, and there isn't enough numbers, so everybody is struggling to get his own before everything finishes.
We see
so
it's actually it's a normal thing. We see even here when there's a petrol scarcity, what we see in Nigeria happening, I've seen it here in the United. I've seen it. I've witnessed it myself. where it makes me laugh because I just think Nigerians are not the only badly behaved people. When there's petrol scarcity here, people act crazy also. So I mean, I'm just saying that the structure has to be there. You can't say, oh, I know my state has 20 million people. Oh, I'm expecting 1 million people to come. And then when 20 million, you start panicking. No, you need to make provision so that if everybody comes, you're prepared. So it's about not being prepared, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry.
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay, gentlemen, let's move on. Let's move on, please. Let's move on. We need an update. Godwin, it's your turn now, and I know you're going to take your time to do this because we need to know what's happening in Russia. Just some weeks ago, we were celebrating the victory of Vladimir Putin as the Russian president won the 6-year term, another period, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 from nowhere. I mean, the whole world was shaking. What's happening? Give us the updates. Numbers of death has increased. We know the 4 culprits has been arrested. Tell us what's more. What's going on with the attack at the concert hall?
Okay. It's been some days now. I think on the third day now. It's very horrible. Lots of lives lost. The death toll is getting to 140, if not more. And then the number of injured, more, taking it up to close to the 200 mark. So it's a lot of. I mean, when the initial numbers were announced, there was a comment, given that the number will most likely increase, and that was because a lot of people were in ICU, fighting for their lives. But what even became more, touching was that a lot of people were found in the rubbles of that's because of the fire, the inhalation of combustive substances. So it was lost. But today there's also been some fake news, or do I say information warfare campaign that went on in Russia today. I don't know if I can update you on that. So there were lots of in social media, there were fake news of buildings that were mined, and there were lots of evacuations from crowded places.
I saw that.
Yes, from shopping centers, hospitals. The law enforcement agencies were constantly dealing with these reports of mining that were coming in. Many of them were fake. They were no real. But because Russia was taking it serious, every information was taken serious and led to evacuation, whether it was true, credible, or not credible.
Absolutely.
So we've also seen medical centers that were, for example, the Pirogov Medical Center, National Medical and Surgical Center, even as far as other cities like St. Petersburg, Izhevsk, which other place again? I think Ulyanovsk as well. There were lots of reports on evacuations. But what I want to talk about is that in the face of adversity, now the Russian people showed solidarity. And I've said it so many times on this show. Like whenever you push Russians to the wall, that's when you see their strength. It's just the paradox of their existence. And we saw, first of all the people we saw even children helping for the evacuation. There's a young boy, 14-year-old boy or so, who helped in evacuating people. The residents around the area brought hot tea, food for the police officers. Taxi services were free to and from the place for a long time. Banks, on their own accord, decided to forgive the death of the victims and their families. A few banks came up, and before we know it, all banks in Russia forgave the death of all the victims. We had the government come out to give monetary financial support in millions. We have even the insurance company that insured the Crocodile City Hall. They said, we don't need proof. You are insured. We'll take it up. No argument, no nothing. The insurance company says we are taking it up. So even the investors of Crocodile City Hall get their money back from the insurance. Basically, just so much solidarity. As I'm telling you, at the venue of the Crocodile City Hall today, there are volunteers there now that are giving out free sweets, free chocolates, just to give kind of show solidarity and to paint the picture in memory of the place. Just giving out free sweets, chocolate. You can, if you go there now, you can take drinks, chocolate, sweets for free. People are just in the spirit of solidarity. It's amazing. I don't know where else I've seen something like this. It's just simply amazing. The terrorists, we got the information that they trained in Turkey, and today Russia passed some intelligence to Turkey. They grabbed some of them, about 40 of them, and the terrorist cell. I think all this is also coming from the back of interrogations. Apart from the 4 people that were arrested, some more people were arrested during the course of these 3 days who aided and abetted the crime. For example, the person who sold the car to the terrorists, and then the false flags were also eliminated. What else? What else can I say? Russia is considering bringing back the death sentence. Okay, let me just add more. Russia is thinking of bringing back the death sentence because of this terrorist attack, and then arming trade centers with security men who are armed with automatic rifles. We have over 500 trade malls in Moscow, so it's a very hefty task. But I think Russia is up to the task.
Wow.
Our condolence to Russia, SSM, all my guys here. We all say, with the depth from our heart, we say, let the Russians be at peace as you pass through. It's a real trying moment for you now, but we're with you. Thank you very much, Dr. Godwin. Let's go on a small break, gentlemen. Let's go on a small break. Just a few minutes. We'll be back. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, definitely.
What's your name?
My name is Nemo Benseko.
Where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
What's the most beautiful thing you can tell me about Nigeria?
The most beautiful thing about Nigeria is being Nigeria.
It's being Nigeria. That's perfect.
Definitely.
Thank you. Bye.
No matter where you go, make you not forget area. Na Naija tí o dé bá ti lè padà wálé o. How I wish, say I fit reach you anywhere you dey. You dey far away. That's one no say make you dey born area. Motherland, yo. Now your origin.
Thinking Guayas who joined.
She asked or he asked for that, I don't know. So,
you're on mute.
Unmute yourself, Mark.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Do you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. Let's go straight to it. We have a few minutes more. Right in our country, it's a situation also that's brewing that doesn't sound good, and that is a company. There is a company called Binance. I don't know who's following that story. Binance has been
Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Sorry. Binance has been said to have evaded tax, and now the federal government is taking them to court, and some issues are brewing up on that. Who's following the financial story? Can you give us some update on that? Who has that story? Godwin, George?
I mean, okay, I don't know anyone who wants to talk. Maybe I'll talk later. I just think we don't have enough information yet in terms of what tax, how much it was invaded and stuff like that. But I think the idea is the fact that the government is on a drive, on a energy drink kind of drive, to kind of control the devaluation of the currency and control the inflation and divest from the economy. And it's obvious that a lot of people, there's a loss of confidence in the naira. For a while, people are divesting to other currencies because of the fear, both in terms of the international financial organization projections and the visible devaluation that we've seen over a time. There's an increasing people who have the option to not everyone has the option, but people who have the option to divest into other currencies or to crypto will do so. And we also have people who are who want to engage in betting because, well, they don't see anything from they can do with themselves apart from hoping that their fortune, the stars align. So if crypto is a way to be able to buy the fund needed to gamble, they'll do it. So the government is on a drive to control the currency. I don't think making them a scapegoat, in my opinion. I mean, if they've been evading tax, why now all of a sudden it's overblown in this particular? Why exactly now? It means that whatever they were doing were tolerable for a while and became intolerable all of a sudden. So
okay, added to that, thank you very much.
Hold on a second.
Added to that,
let me just delve in here for a minute, because the question you're going to ask yourself: how much tax are they being charged, and how are they determining those taxes? Because some of these transactions are almost invisible, because you can't even trace it. You can't even know what it is. So there's no public view to, like, I have a billion naira in my account and this is the way that I made it, therefore 10% of it goes to the government. This is just nothing but a play. That's exactly, Godwin, you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head, because the fact of the matter, even locally that are so sophisticated in their tracing of finances and stuff, they have not been able to do that, to know exactly how much you are transferring and making. Yeah, that's what
So, sorry, I don't think it's about tax evasion. I think it's about movement of volumes of money that is tendering towards money laundering. And therefore, it becomes a very, very security issue. It's also part of, they believe that some of the movement of that money had been used to sustain terrorism. And that's what the government is actually chasing, not tax evasion, because you can hardly control the cryptocurrencies. You can't.
So how are you controlling the money laundering? Then how are you going to do that?
What they want to do is they want to see the volumes of money that have been passed through crypto, and that's why they wanted to get some form of the account of the transactions, and which they cannot get, which Binance will not be able to give to them, because most of the transaction is supposed to be private between. You can't disclose.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. Sorry,
it doesn't make sense.
You can't disclose it.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I think what Godwin said is exactly what is happening. They are energy drink. I think it's whiskey with energy drink.
It doesn't make sense. We all agree it doesn't make sense. George, another thing that is not making sense is there's a huge discussion now. We're talking health. There's a huge discussion, a huge one on a compensation fee thing in Kanu with Pfizer and the former Attorney General of Nigeria, Aondoakaa. Aondoakaa is being implicated in some big fraud, and it all because he says he's fighting for the federal government. Who's following that story? It's held his story now. This is what we're hearing. As of this morning, the former Attorney General came out and said it's a cheap blackmail that Pfizer is trying to put on him. That all he was doing was fighting for the interests of Nigeria.
Actually, there was a drug trial in Kano.
Yes.
Some time ago, long time ago.
Yes.
How the government allowed that drug test is even unconscionable, because the government just put hundreds of thousands of people at risk. At risk, because those drugs, the drugs they were trying to test, have not been put through serious lab tests before they came to test it on humans, and it came with very devastating results, where a lot of the children
died.
got disabled. Some died.
Ooh.
You know, those who were lucky died, but those who didn't die became disabled, essentially useless to themselves. Now, now the Pfizer quickly packed up and left, but they were sued, and there was some form of settlement. So settlement. When you say compensation, it means that some of the people who were injured in the process got something. There was some settlement, and those who were actually affected, I think hardly any of them got anything. So there was actually no compensation. There was something between government and the law firm of the former vice president was involved. So all those things.
It is stated that it was a massacre. It was a massacre of children because of that error, that test, trying to test a drug.
It was a lot of people died. A lot of children died.
Yes, a lot of children died. So it's stated that it's a massacre. But now what Pfizer did was, because they didn't want to be implicated, they now went backstage and did a background check on the then minister, the then attorney general that was putting them to a case. And they did a check and they found out that he had some scandals too. So instead of talking about the issue, they were now talking about the scandal
trying to blackmail
attorney general. So this is what we find ourselves, a situation where now innocent lives are being taken off, little kids died. Now they said in some towns in Kano, there are children that are leprosy, that are have their body disabled, all because of that testing of drug by Pfizer. Let's put it out straight. George, say what Pfizer on behalf of SSM. I mean, this is our people. Let's do this.
It is very, very sad. And one of the major problems that we have is some of these conspiratorial type of situations it has happened before. And, the point is, the government of Nigeria, we need to wake up. Come on, these are your generations being wiped because of what? Godwin can tell us what some of these pharmaceutical industries are doing. When you go over there, I have a pharmaceutical friend who got a school here. Sometimes after the meeting, he'll come back and lament so badly because the drugs that are supposed to be taking care of people, they will make sure that it's diluted so much that you will become so dependent on it in order for them to make the money back from the money they put into all the research and development and all that kind of stuff, which is so bad. Humans are not supposed to be guinea pigs. They're supposed to use something like mice or whatever to do these things and then slowly test it on humans. Why are they wiping out our generations? It is just so wrong and unacceptable. And Nigeria needs to wake up. We need to wake up and put these people on point and make sure that they don't come back over there. And anybody that does it must be responsibly accountable to this type of things. This is so sad. Can you imagine how many generations are wiped out?
We can't hear you, Mark. We can't hear you.
Yes. I hear you now. Fiona, it's so sad. You're a mother. I mean, how will you don't do this to people. You don't come to use people as guinea pigs. They've been doing this for years now. Remember, this has been done for centuries.
It's very
but
sad.
Now we don't want to take this.
It's very sad. I think, the big pharmaceuticals have a case to answer, not just in Nigeria, but across the world. They are known for this.
I'm telling you.
Even anybody that works in any pharmaceutical sales company, they have to, when they leave, they have to sign non-disclosure, all sorts of, it's almost like a mini mafia that goes on in the pharmaceutical industry. So because at the end of the day, there's no money in the cure, there's only money in the medicine. No, there's no point in so the pharmaceutical companies, in terms of being held accountable, there's so many facets of the way they handle things that are not necessarily of course, I know that they're providing medication for people and it has to be tested somehow, but there's so many of their practices just fly in the face of organic fairness. So many of the things they do. I know people that have worked for pharmaceutical industries and the sort of paperwork they've had to sign to leave because of the sort of things that go on there. So that this is happening in Nigeria. I'm sure there are other places that this happens. Not that that's an excuse, but it happens. And for the Nigerian government, of course, they're saying that, oh, they've given this guy money, etc. I don't even doubt it. I don't doubt it, because I think I had a conversation with someone earlier today and I talked about the fact that the core problem in Nigeria, the core problem at the root of everything, is that life doesn't mean a lot in Nigeria. Life doesn't mean a lot in Nigeria. That's why you can be sick and go to a hospital, teaching hospital, and they want money. You can be shot and you go to hospital and they say, because life has minimal meaning. That's why 6 people can be killed and they tell you 2, because life has no meaning in Nigeria, or very little meaning. So, so all that is all, part and parcel of the same thing. But to the pharmaceutical issue, it does happen. Pharmaceutical companies are, culpable in many cases like this across the world, not just in Nigeria. It's unfortunate that we are caught up and we have children that are a generation of children that are growing up, unwell, differently abled, disabled, and it's just a difficult, and it's not as though we have a government that will now support them and say, okay, we agreed for these pharmaceutical companies to come and test this, or we're going to look after you now. We don't have a social service system. We don't have anything look at what's happened in Russia. Look at the amazing way that things are going on there. This is why Putin can come back, because look at the organization that's going on there. This is what I'm saying. So anyway, so that's my rant.
Can I say something about? Can I say something? Can I say something?
Let's move on.
By the way, listen quickly.
Okay.
Yes.
George.
Godwin, does it mean that these people that were captured, they were not listening to me? Is it that they don't listen to us? Who is the person? Who is the fool who will come to Russia and do such a thing and think they're going to get away with it? I mean, seriously, though.
We'll talk about
no, seriously. We'll talk about
Wednesday, we'll be talking about that. Listen, gentlemen, we'll have small time. Our president, Nigerian president, will be marking his birthday this Friday, 72, he says. But he did something very interesting. He said, please, no celebration. Take all the money, give to the homeless, give to charity, Yeah. But me and you guys we know where we're coming from. On that day,
Boris Johnson kind of thing, yeah.
There'll be a huge celebration.
Well, it's Ramadan. Hold on.
Miss Benson, tell us.
Sorry, can I just interject? He's a Muslim and it's Ramadan. They're not supposed to be, they're not going to be having any big celebration at this time.
That's the number one citizen of Nigeria, and such days don't pass without big festival celebration. Well, Miss Benson, is it good that he says give the money to charity, and will he keep to his words and stay mute that day, solemn, no celebration? Do you think that will happen?
Well, it will happen. Miss Benson, okay. Sorry.
It will happen.
It's okay. First, I'm going to say I'm not. He is. I so much love the Yoruba Muslims. Actually, I love them a lot too. I'm not really sure he will not. These people, he will be celebrated. Why I say I love the Yoruba Muslims is that they are both ways. They are Christians and they are also Muslims. So there is no way he's not going to celebrate it.
So he's going to celebrate even with what he have said.
No. This is not.
Nigeria was
This.
celebrating. That's the truth.
You know what? I love what he did. Okay, he's bringing out there, some sort of kind of information. We are in a very serious time. Therefore, I am going to sacrifice my birthday. Don't celebrate me. If you want to give me any gift, give it to the people. That is a good leadership act, if you ask me. He becomes, he's listening. So honestly speaking, whether he celebrates it inside the Aso Rock, that's okay. But now he's sending that information out so that we will know that this is his mindset, whether they're going to celebrate him, whether we like it or not. Come on. That's our president. So, and I wouldn't even blame him if they, a bunch of people gather together with him and they share drinks or whatever the case might be. So they will celebrate him. But the news out there is good for the nation. I like that. I really do.
Okay. In follow-up news also, let's talk about what's happening in Ireland. Follow-up news to our last update on Ireland. Now, Ireland has a new prime minister. Fiona, are you following that? Simeon Harris is set to become Ireland's next prime minister after the other man said he's resigning. So we're hoping to have the new prime minister, 37 years old, Simeon Harris. We're trying to get his picture here. He will be the new prime minister, and he's going to take on from where this man has started from. It's not going to be easy because there are some issues there that are also critical issues that should be settled. So anyway, that's it. Anybody has anything to say from Ireland and the new prime minister?
Well, I mean, for me, I think it stunned everybody. I think when Aondoakaa said that he was going to be stepping down, I think everybody across the board was quite surprised. But what is what is. Simon Harris has been returned unopposed. So from the 9th of April, he'll become the new Irish Taoiseach, and on we go. I think he gave personal and political reasons for stepping down, of which we don't know what they are. But obviously, there's some rumor in the back end that it could be something to do with the new bills that are trying to go through in terms of LGBT rights. And obviously, he's an openly gay prime minister, and not wanting to be seen as somebody who may be for or against. But for me, I just find that very interesting because looking at people in power generally, stepping back because their agenda wants to be promoted is not something that I see frequently happen. So I don't really know. I reckon that as the time goes past, after the 9th of April, we might perhaps start to hear more interesting insights as to why he took the decision to step down. Wow.
Nice. Broke it down. You're close to them anyway, so you have all information at the tip of your hands there. Nice. Gentlemen, anybody wants to say anything? Any updates we didn't get? Talking.
I mean, did I miss something? Did you talk about the new president of Senegal, prime minister?
Please.
Telling us about Ireland instead of about Senegal.
No. Because that just came in also.
Respect to Fiona.
Go ahead. The new president, the young man. Go ahead.
Okay, you can insult it, Dr. Governor. It's okay. I'll take it from you. From you, I'll accept it. From some other people, I won't accept.
Thank you for understanding. But okay, the new guy, Diomaye, the youngest Senegal prime minister. Yes. In a long time. But it's not just his youth that is being celebrated. I think what is being celebrated is the fact that he sought to break the treaty with France and improve relations with Russia. So it's obviously Russia's already been helping and there's been a lot of cooperation, but it's been his slogan, and because he keyed well with the people, they voted him in. I think it's no surprise to everyone. But the point is that Of course, it will make Emmanuel Macron, that's the effect on geopolitics, it will make him a little bit more angry, more averse to risks. Like he's already taking his people to Romania to try to provide what they can do. We see they're not combat forces, they're advisory forces or whatever. But everyone knows that it's an escalation because Russia has clearly said that they are target number one. I think that if we remove the geopolitical aspect, global geopolitics out of this picture, it's good when we have countries being able to choose who they want to partner with, whether it's US, whether it's with Russia. You know, unipolarity is one of the reasons that have made big pharma, Western big pharma, so powerful, like Pfizer, like Sir George was complaining about. It was mostly in this unipolar world where companies that are coming out from this from the US know that they have a diplomatic veto power. And no matter what they do, they have enough fund to clean up the mess. So what we are seeing as a catastrophe for them is just side effect, the mess, which they can clear up with fund and diplomatic veto power. So I think multipolarity gives the choice and makes everyone sit on their, on their heels or on their butts and work really hard. So I congratulate the new prime minister, and I hope that it leads to improvement in ties, not just with Russia, but I think it will lead to improvement in ties with all geopolitical powers so that we can stop fighting through the proxy conflicts and, face more important issues.
Stop fighting into the proxy countries and face more important issues. Gentlemen, George, you're trying to say something.
Yes, right. Yeah, I was just trying to say congratulations to the new president or prime minister of Senegal. By the way, France have not seen the last of what is going on in Africa, because when they're done with France, they will realize that the evil that men do lives after them, because of what they've done to Haiti and what some of these influences that they've had in some of these third world countries is now coming back to bite them. So, and you know what? I am glad about something, and I'm glad that you're here, Dr. Godwin, because you have converted Fiona, and now I think you're converting me too. So I'm halfway. I'm halfway. So don't worry, we're coming with you. We're coming with you. Maybe don't worry. Immediately after I'm fully converted, I'll bring a massive Mac with me.
Oh yeah, just when we're about to leave, one of our coordinator has just come in. BD, you're coming late. Because we're
unfortunately we can't see her face anyway.
Yes.
Have you changed your nick to Very Dark Woman?
He's gone.
Very dark man and the rest. Okay, gentlemen, we have to go. Let's go, guys. Let's go so we can come on Wednesday. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Guys, the viewership for Between the Line is impressive, I tell you. Wednesday we'll be back. Until then, Benson, thank you for coming through with Turkey. Turkey's election is soon. We are waiting for your update from Turkey. Let's have something.
They said that is it true that it's cheap to do surgery in Turkey? Is that true? Because I was going to do surgery. I was thinking about going to Russia to go to
Okay, come do your surgery in Europe. Gentlemen, let's go, guys. Thank you all for coming. Until we meet again next week. Have a beautiful week. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.